All praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on how even the people that kiss Esau's ass are starting to realize that you can't get along with this guy. Like, it don't matter whether you say every single thing that he wants you to say, eventually he's going to turn against you, right? And I heard somebody say word it in this particular way, and I'm going to copy the kind of way how they worded it, man, because there was basically like, I heard an Israelite say this, an Israelite from Great Millstone, because that's the only Israelites I'll be listening to what they got to say and taking it of any worth anyway, right? And I'm not a member of them, by the way. I want to say that, right? But I believe what they're saying, though. But he said that because now these Edomites are starting to be bold in their speech with how they're talking about racism and how they're talking about the things that they want, they're not being as cowardly about it no more. Because of that, they don't no longer need a so-called black man to be the voice and say them things for them. They're be more prepared to say it for themselves, right? They don't want nobody else saying it for them. They want it to be known. No, this is what I think. I don't need you, so-called black man, to say it for me. I'm gonna say it myself. So all these people that they used to have to do these things for them, people like Tommy Sotomayor, people like the Myron Gaines type of people. What's this other guy, Officer Tatum or something like that, right? These kind of people, they're starting to have no place. They're starting to lose their position in the society because they don't like their own people a lot of the time, right? They want a society run by somebody else other than their own people, but they want to have a portion within that society the same size as the people that's running the society, which don't make any sense because in our kingdom as Israelites, a Edomite ain't having the same portion of our kingdom as we have. A heathen ain't having the same portion in our kingdom as we have. That's not happening. They're going to have a portion as far as they're going to exist on there, and they're going to have a house and a home and all that stuff in their own lands. But it's not going to be significant enough for them to be considered an heir to the kingdom. Not at all. Just like how in this society right now, there's Israelites that have houses and have and own things, right? There'll be Israelites, there'll be people that literally believe the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, that you'd be able to see them and be like, oh shit, you've got some nice stuff going around here. But it's not significant enough to be considered an heir to the Edomite throne, is it? And then when you compare it to what they're supposed to have as an Israelite, it's not even worth mentioning, right? It's not even worth speaking about what they have, man. Because we're desirous to have our own kingdom. And this society is keeping us away from that, man. And all these Jakes, like Thomas Sotomayor, when he started spazzing out on this guy, he was going in on him. But here's the thing. Had this guy not been cutting him off and doing all the things that he was doing to antagonize him and had not been trying to gaslight him, he would have ignored it for today. And I think that I've saw things going around that he's lost his channel. But had this guy have not did everything that he did in this debate or whatever they was doing, I'm not even really too sure what the hell was happening. I just saw this video. I don't know the context of anything that's gone on. But what he said, that what Tommy Sotomayor says in this video is true, right? About the Edomite people. But had this have not happened today and he not been annoyed today, he would have ignored all those traits that he clearly knows that these people have and wouldn't have said nothing about it, man. And that's the thing with a lot of these people. Like Anton Daniels is another guy that's like that. That guy, as long as his pockets are filled, man, he don't care nothing about what's going on with our nation. He wouldn't care if he was the only one in our nation. A guy like that, man, wouldn't care if he's the only one in our nation that's got money. And then everyone else is broke. As long as when he looks at us, he can call us dusty and say that our wives' breath stinks or whatever. That's what he was talking before, right? When I don't know why you're so close to another man's wife to smell whatever a breath smells, nice or bad. When you're supposed to be a Christian, right? What you all up in the next man's wife's face for then? And that same guy said a lot of things on his channel that lead me to believe that he would or currently does commit adultery, man, with next men's wives. But I ain't gonna say for certain that I think he's did it, but the way how he talks, when he's talking about if you brought your wife around me or your woman around me and she saw how I'm living, she'd come home to you different. Like, why are you saying something like that for? How about you just get your own women? And that's the thing with a lot of these Christians. They're Christian until they want to live by the world's way. They're about the Bible until they want to live around about the world's way. And the Christianity is of the world anyway, man. The Christianity, these so-called plantation Christianity that these majority of these so-called black people believe, that's of the world. That's got nothing to do with the scriptures. They don't believe in the scriptures like how we believe in the scriptures, man. If they don't eat pork, it's because they don't like the taste of it. It's not because the Bible says don't eat it. If they have a beard, it's not because Yahweh told them to have a beard. It's because they like how it looks. And because now the women are kind of starting to like a man with a beard. It's not because that Yahweh said to have one. It's not because of that. If they don't get tattoos, it's not because the Bible says don't get tattoos. It's because they don't really like how tattoos look, or they're scared of the pain of the needle. Now, will there be people that are Hebrew Israelites right now that have had a tattoo before? Yeah. But did they get any more once they knew that they were an Israelite? No. And it's interesting to see how a lot of these people, these Israelites, they're like starting to realize that Esau was a piece of garbage, man. But they knew before. That's the thing. They knew before that he was like that. But until their little portion in this society or their thing that they're not prepared to accept gets challenged, they're prepared to accept that he's like that and just not say anything about it and just keep saying stuff about their own people. But then when Esau challenges them and gets on their nerves, now they're prepared to spaz out and start baiting out all the things that these people do. But then when we say, yeah, they do this stuff, y'all want to say, oh, it's not them, it's the Jews. Oh, it's not them, it's the elites. Oh, it's not them, it's only some of them people, not all. Like, you've got this whole thing that goes on right now where people say, oh, what did they say, man? You'll say something about the so-called white race that they do this and they do that, and the first thing that people say is, "Oh, it's not even white people that do it; it's the Jews." But here's the thing: before that, they were saying it's not this; it's the Jews. They were saying it's the elites. But now that they've figured out that most of the people that are of their so-called white race that are call themselves elites also call themselves Jews. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh, so how can we separate ourselves from even being of this and try and pass the blame completely over onto another group of people? Because that's what us Edomites like to do. We like to throw the blame to another person. That's what these Edomites do. They throw the blame to one next person to another, man. If when Yahweh Shai came back, these Edomites was able to throw all the blame on every single person on their nation apart from them, and it meant that they could survive. They'd do it, even though they'd be just as guilty as everyone else. They're all guilty together, man. And that's why it's hilarious when they try and come with some of this, oh, it's not us, it's they used to say, it's not us, it's the elites. I can't remember the last time somebody said it's not us, it's the elites. I can't remember the last time I heard somebody say that. It's gotta be at least 5 years ago. The last time I heard anybody even say that. It's definitely before the lockdowns happened that I heard anybody say, oh, it's not all so-called white people, it's the elites. It's the elites doing it. It's us against the elites. You know that? It's us against the elites. Now they're not saying that. They're saying it's us against the small hats, man. They're trying to so-called, but then they're not prepared to accept this. They all think they're so smart, but they're not prepared to accept this. Small hat, Englishman, American, Swedish, all different names for the same thing: a slippery serpent from the Garden of Eden, an Idumean, an Edomite, a descendant of Esau, a descendant of the birthright giver. Yeah. A descendant of the lost blessing one, right? A descendant of him, man. A descendant of the weeper, right? Esau wept, right? You Edomites are a descendant of the weeper, right? We're a descendant of the supplanter. We're a descendant of Yashar Allah, Prince of the Power, man. And you're a descendant of that crybaby that sold his birthright and had his blessing taken, which it was never really his blessing anyway. It was always our blessing. In the heavenly realm, it was our blessing. It's always been ours, man. And I'm going to end the video there. Shalom to the elect.